Hello, hello. My name is Rachel Silber. I am an Access Consciousness certified facilitator, and I was just looking at the little dragon I have on my shelf, and I'm here with a few questions, a few musings, wondering a little bit about how we all be and function and look at the world. So that's the ring. I'm going to just silence that one. Okay, cool. So I began this with wanting to read to you something from this amazing book called the How to Become Money Workbook by Gary Douglas. And then as I was reading the portion that I looked at, as I was reading it to myself, I thought, holy shit, I've got to really, really look at this, because everywhere that we align and agree with something, everywhere we resist and react with something, we actually solidify what is. So I'll show you in case you're not familiar. I don't know if you can see. Yeah, you can. Or better yet, maybe the white one would be a little more easy to see. I'll just pull it out from underneath my chair. Here we go. This will be a clearer visual. When we have a point of view, and why am I speaking about points of view? Actually, let me backtrack. Everything that we see in life, everything that we look at in life, everything that we interpret in life, the way we create our life, our living, our world, our perspective of anything is created through the points of view that we have, through literally the point through which we're looking at. That gifts us or allows us to interact with certain things that are there. So if we have a particular point of view, we're going to see things that align and agree with that point of view. So when we're looking through a point of view, that's essentially the world's going to be giving us what matches the point of view that we have. So whatever is our judgment, whatever it is that we're thinking about something, whatever conclusions that we have out there, that's the only thing that we'll be able to see. So if we have a point of view that, life is beautiful and we simply adore it and it's miraculous and it's phenomenal and all wonderful things are happening to and for us, well, then we're going to be seeking like a heat-seeking missile kind of thing. We're going to be seeking things that back up our point of view. This works in all directions. It works in positive things. It works in, not so positive things. It works in every single way. When we have a point of view, we literally cut away, we eliminate anything that does not match that point of view. There's a lot of point of views out there in the world. There have been for many, many years. And this has been something that's been bubbling in my world for the last year and a half of not really knowing how to go about speaking or being or whatever with some of the points of views that I'm perceiving. Is the more we choose consciousness, the more we choose the classes. If you happen to be on the access.me app and you're listening to all of the different access classes from years, you can go to access.me and sign up if you like. It's $275 a month, and you can enjoy 25 or more years of different access classes, and it's brilliant and it's beautiful, and there's a lot there. And you can also purchase any of the classes that you like, but this way with the $275, it gives you this like taster. You can go in and listen to anything that's out there on the app, not downloadable, of course, but you can receive it and you can explore. And the more that you receive and the more that you explore and the more that you listen to these things and the more that you use the clearing statement, the more that you're willing to let go of points of views, and the more that you're willing to, hi, Michelle in Guatemala, good to see you. The more that you're willing to play and the more that you're willing to explore, the more your awareness gets fine-tuned. You begin to hear a lot more out there. And so it's wonderful to ask for your allowance to expand, because sometimes you can be so aware of what's going on in people's worlds that it can be uncomfortable. Don't know if any of you guys have ever been there, done that, had that. But a lot of us who happen to be seekers in the world are also those people who are very sensitive, very aware, and pick up on absolutely everything. And it comes through as very intense. What do you do with all that intensity? Well, first of all, something that's really important is that you are not your points of view. Yes, you are looking through points of view, but they are points of view. Are they really real and true? When you have a point of view about something, it feels so real, it feels so intense. Oftentimes, it's something that we've bought or heard from other people and then feel such this angst to defend it that we don't recognize a space between that point of view and us. That space between the point of view and us is a space of possibilities. It is a space where you have choice. It's a space where you can notice other possibilities. You can notice, oh, is that really mine? You can ask a question out of that space. You can't ask a question when you're tunnel visioning into it's only this one thing. So, like I said, with the point of view, we have points of view that really color our world, kind of like these glasses happen to be clear lenses. But if my point of view was green tinted lenses or blue tinted lenses or rose colored lenses or anything, that's what I would see looking out. So if I have a point of view that life is shit and that things are terrible, that's the only thing that I'll be able to see. Everything will look like shit until I clear off my lenses. Or if I have this perspective that, life can be miraculous, then that's what I'll see. There's actually a lovely quote. Let me find it, because I have it on the bottom of my emails and then I forget it. So this way, it's an Albert Einstein quote, and I absolutely love it. There are two ways to live your life. There's more than two, but definitely, at least in this perspective, two. One is as though nothing is a miracle, and the other is as though everything is a miracle. Because you will look for the evidence to back up whatever point of view that you have. What we do with these points of views, whether we hear them from the outside world, whether we read them on the news, whether we look at them on social media or anything else, anytime we align and agree with a point of view, or when we you can align and agree or resist and react to a point of view. So basically, whether it's the positive polarity or the negative polarity, aligning and agreeing or resisting and reacting, what are we doing? We're actually holding that point of view up there, solid and real and true, but is it really true? So this is where we've got some phenomenal tools that we can use to actually notice what works for us. First of all, truth will always make you feel lighter, more spacious, more expansive, more like you can take a breath in. It gives you a sense of space and spaciousness, because that's the infinite being that you really are. Versus when you're really defending a point of view, whether you're for it or you're against it. But when you're defending a point of view, you're in this aligning and agreeing or resisting and reacting, which solidifies this fucker and doesn't let it go. So what can we do? We can ask questions like, is this really true? Is this mine? Is it somebody else's? Did I buy it from somebody? Truth will always make you feel lighter. That's another tool. Truth will always make you feel that expansiveness, and a lie, even if it's a truth with a lie attached, will make you feel heavier, more intense, more dense, more, like when you see people fighting for something, how many points of view are they holding on to? that aren't them. So when you notice, when you can let go of a point of view, and we'll go through that in a second, what happens is you're releasing whatever that solidity is. The more of us let go of points of view that seem so real and true, the more space not only do we have, but they have as well. It has been, okay, so wait, back up. ADD brain over here. So how do we let go of points of view? Two very, very phenomenal ways. One of them is using the clearing statement of access consciousness, which sounds like gobbledygook to some people, but there's a phenomenal explanation at theclearingstatement.com for short. And the way my mother pre-dementia used to use it was she'd do the little chicken thing and she'd go pock and pod, pock and pod, pock and pod. What is pock and pod, if you're wondering, other than funky chicken sounds? Point of creation, pock, and point of destruction, pod, where you've taken that point of view or that belief or that whatever it is that you might have heard out there, and you created that within you. You took it on, you planted the seed, and then from that point on, you began to create your life from whatever that limitation is or that point of view that you'd taken in. So it's a point of creation of that point of view, which leads to your destruction, everything falling apart in your life in order to align and agree with whatever that point of view is. So one that I've explained a lot, I took on a point of view when I was in elementary school, which is really silly, but in elementary school, that I wasn't any good in math. So I took on a point of view, planted it in there. Oh, teachers certainly know better than the students, right? They're the adults, they know better. So I would take on that point of view. And then from that point on, oh, I'm no good in math. Oh, I can't do math. Oh, I can only do history. I can only do English. I can only do whatever else. I'm good at that stuff, but I'm not good at this. But that's a place where you're destroying your capacities. So the first thing is actually recognizing that it's just a point of view. It isn't you. So you can let it go by using that clearing statement, that POC and POD for short, if you like, or the weird shit that the crazy lady and those people that explain the video at theclearingstatement.com say, or you can say the entire thing. And actually, the way the clearing statement has morphed over the last, since November, has morphed dynamically, and it is intensely wonderful. Even if you're just, and I've done this, where I've just been driving or walking around the neighborhood or whatever else and repeat the clearing statement, it is amazing how much gunk and how much untruths begin to just fall away, and you don't even cognitively recognize what they are, but you just feel so much lighter, and there's so much more space in your world. So sounds weird, but it's absolutely wonderful, and it is right and wrong. So again, we're going back to, the two sides of the polarity supporting a point of view, right and wrong, good and bad, POD and POC, which we just said, funky chicken, point of destruction, point of creation, right and wrong, good and bad, POD and POC, all the 100 stories that you keep talking about in your life, many of them direct polar opposites that are causing cognitive dissonance in your life, your living, your choices, and everything else. So all 100, right and wrong, good, I have to do it all together, right and wrong, good and bad, POD and POC, all 100, shorts, boys, POVADs, points of views that you're avoiding and defending, shorts, boys, POVADs, creations, bases, and beyonds. So the rounds of creation of your life and the bases of your reality. And there's so much there that even just using the clearing statement, POC and POD for short, or that whole big doozy, right and wrong, good and bad, POD and POC, all 100, shorts, boys, POVADs, creations, bases, and beyonds, like repeating it. And it's fun to repeat. It's kind of like one of those she sells seashells by the seashore kind of thing. You can play with it, but utilizing it allows you to literally let go of all this gunk that's stifling your life, your living, your reality, and your way of looking at the world. That's one way. There's another way that's equally brilliant, and that is the tool of allowance. Now, what is allowance? So remember we spoke about aligning and agreeing, or resisting and reacting. Well, these are the two sides of actually being in agreement with something, solidifying it, even if it's, the negative side and you're resisting and reacting. But in order to resist and react with anything, there's got to be a tiny little element of agreement, or else you wouldn't be able to be stuck with it. So one of the elements of allowance is everything is just an interesting point of view. Now, this one's been a doozy for me, like a fucking huge doozy. Why? Because it is so innate for us to align and agree, or resist and react with a point of view. That's what we're modeled in this world. And we're so psychic. We're so aware. We can pick up on everybody's worlds, even if we don't recognize it, even if we think that we're the least aware person on the planet. We're picking up other people's thoughts, feelings, emotions, and everything else. That was one of the hugest life-saving gifts for me with Access, is I used to think it was all me. I didn't realize that I was actually aware. How much are you functioning from your awareness and your psychic capacities that you've never acknowledged, that you've not even realized? And the psychic capacities that you've tapped into are with other people that are around you, that are spitting out the same sort of crap that everybody's been spitting out. Life is terrible, things are evil, the world's falling apart, going to hell in a handbasket, whatever. But those are points of views that may not be yours. But since you're hearing it, you're picking it up, it's going through your ears, it's echoing in your voice, you think it's you, but it's not. So having the tool of allowance gives you this space of, interesting point of view, I have this point of view. Point of view just swims through your head, or you're picking up on it. Interesting point of view, I have this point of view. If you're having a conversation with someone, or you're hearing the news, or you're looking at lovely protests where people just hate other people for no other reason than who they were born as, interesting point of view, they have this point of view. And interesting point of view, I have this point of view about the point of view that they have. It isn't the easiest thing in the world, I know. But everything that's absolutely wonderful takes a bit of a stretch, takes a bit more choice, takes a bit more willingness to actually develop a muscle, to use it. You want to work out, you want to, run a marathon or whatever, you've got to get into the Schwunga, into the practice, into the experience of it. This is an invitation with these tools as well. So, thank you so much, Michelle. I really appreciate that. So Michelle is writing in Facebook. First one is Pock and Pod. Second one, interesting point of view. And interestingly, speaking of Facebook, they just came up with a new thing for Facebook Lives. If anyone else does Facebook Lives and doesn't know it yet, all new Facebook Lives are only available for 30 days. And then they go bye-bye and Facebook deletes them. So this is also streaming to my YouTube channel so that it stays around. It just kind of makes it a little different. But see, it's one of those things you can either, fight and go into fight mode, or you can go, interesting point of view. I can save it. I can keep it. I can upload it in a different way. I can, stream it to YouTube as well. So it's available. There are different options. You don't have to fight. You can ask a question and say, well, what can I be, and choose different that's going to, change this, or that's going to create more ease here. What else is possible I've never considered? That's another one that you can use. There's pocking and potting, so destroying and uncreating everything that we've aligned and agreed with. And actually, twist on that one, and another great tool is recognizing that you can destroy and uncreate each day when you get up. Everything I have been up to yesterday, everything I've chosen, everything I've ever aligned and agreed with, or resisted and reacted to, whatever it is, I destroy and uncreate it all. Everything I've been, everything I've chosen, bye-bye. from that space, when you let it go, then there is far less polarity and there's far more movement and fluidity available for you and in your life. So, um, that's a huge way of being able to get more into allowance, because once those things aren't jangling at your nerves all the time, then you've got the space to be able to choose other possibilities. Uh, who is it? Said between stimulus and a response, there's a space. I can't recall one of the psychologists who said that, but that's a phenomenal way of having a space where you can be the chooser in your life. You no longer have to react, because you no longer have to align and agree or resist and react. You don't have to be pulled in either one of those ways. You can actually choose what's going to work for me here. What can I receive? What can I look at? What can I notice? What do I know here? And then I'd like to take us back to something called presumptive realities. Now, presumptive realities are wherever we've decided that something is. Okay? Whether it's true or not, we've no idea. We presume that something is true. And actually, to me, the word presumption really rings with assumption. You assume that it is true. And one of the things that I got when I was like 15 and my brother was getting married to a woman from Venezuela, her mother, who was American, said to me, "Do you know what you do every time you assume?" I'm like, "No." And she said, "You make an ass, A-S-S, out of you, the letter U, and me, M-E." And that really, really stuck, because we're not what we think we are. We take so many things for granted and we presume that they are true without questioning. But when we recognize that presumptive realities are basically how we create, we predict our future, because we eliminate everything else that could be true. And remember, the point of view, or what your experience of reality is, always related back to your point of view. Dr. Dane here says in the Being You Changing the World book, he says your point of view creates your reality. And it's like that, because anything that doesn't match it just goes bye-bye. So you can have a different reality. You can have different choices. You can see and be something entirely different when you're willing to question those things that seemed so innately true to you before. So all of the presumptive realities that you have, that you've misidentified and misapplied as you, that aren't you and aren't even true, would you be willing to destroy and uncreate all of those, please? Right and wrong, good and bad, pod and pock, all 100, shorts, boys, povads, creations, bases, and beyonds. How much more could we choose? How much more could we play with? How much more could we enjoy if we actually allowed ourselves to be the space of possibilities that we truly be, rather than remain in the battle of maintaining other people's points of views? And everything that brings up times a godzillion, will you destroy and uncreate it all, please? Right and wrong, good and bad, pod and pock, all 100, shorts, boys, povads, creations, bases, and beyonds. I love that there is a Facebook group that I have called the Space of Possibilities Facebook group. And if you're watching this in Facebook, you should have a link to my link tree. There's a link there to the Facebook group. You can also send me a message and I can send you the link for it if you like. I have been going live in there. Today was day 11, and running out of control clearings just to create more space and more possibilities, rather than having to duplicate everything else that everyone else has already been and done. Because when we're busy defending points of views. We're not in allowance. We are not in ease. We are not in relaxation. But we are literally buying into other people's control systems, other people's perspectives, projections, and expectations, and struggles, and whatever else they're going through. And we're not honoring ourselves and what we know to be true for us without even realizing it, just because we're buying other people's points of views. So recognizing that you are not your point of view and you can choose something entirely different can make your life and living far more ease and far more joy and far more possibilities. Now, a quickie with this that I had mentioned before for anyone who joined us after, it's a little blurry. I don't know if you can see it. This is the How to Become Money workbook by Gary Douglas. It is brilliant. I will be starting to go through it because I am actually going to start going through it. I'm going to do it just for me, just for fun. And if anybody would like to join me, you are invited to. It'd be $69, and I'll be going through it until about March 20th or so, 4 times a week. If you would like to, you are invited. But let me find the little section. I just doggy marked the page. If I could find it again. Well, I have my one in Guatemala is, here we go, is earmarked and underlined. This is a little bit underlined, but not as belovedly worn out as my my original spiral notebook of this book. Okay. In this case, he is speaking about money. It is not only about money, and I would like to just present this, although there's a lot more to it, as I was saying before, about different points of view. He's saying, if you have another point of view as just an interesting point of view, as interesting point of view is all it is. Every time you create a consideration about money, this book is about money, but not only about money. I'm using this as an example for anything else. You create a limitation upon yourself. Again, going back to that thing with interesting point of view will get you out of pretty much anything. Every time you create a consideration, you create a limitation upon yourself. And every time you tell somebody else what your point of view is, you create a limitation upon them. You wish to create freedom, then be freedom. Freedom is no consideration at all. What would the world look like if you manifested all of life with ease and joy and glory, with no consideration about limitation at all? If you had unlimited thought and unlimited ability and unlimited allowance, would there be graffiti? Would there be homeless? Would there be war? Would there be devastation? And would there be blizzards? So the student asked, this is a conversation between Raz and the students. So what's the difference? Wouldn't there be weather? Raz says, if you had no consideration about blizzards, think of that blizzard as whatever point of view you might be holding. There would be weather. There would not have to be snowstorms. Listen to your television set when it comes close to the time when there's going to be snow coming to you. Yes, they manifest. They go talking about how great of a storm it is going to be. The storm of 96, the second storm of 96 is going to be a great and glorious blizzard here, and it is going to be devastation, and you better get to the store and buy more right away. How many of you buy that point of view and start to create your life from it? Student says, not the buying. I could spend the afternoon in the park. Raz says, you bought the point of view. That is what we're talking about. You instantly decided it was true. Back to my point of, is it true? Is it a presumption? Is it an assumption? Is it a point of view? Because it's most likely a point of view and it isn't you. Do not listen to your television sets. Get rid of them. or watch only those programs that are totally brainless. Watch Scooby-Doo. Funny, that's how I learned English, by watching Scooby-Doo. Watch cartoons, more interesting point of view on them. You listen to the news, you're going to be very depressed, and you're going to have many ideas about what money is. Okay, so just a little snippet. There's a lot more that I love about this book and I'd like to get into, but I'm not going to do that at the moment. I'm already talking longer than I thought that I would, but this has been fun and I'm excited. But this freedom that you have to be you and to be a wonder and a curiosity and an anomaly and a difference and a space, rather than a pre-programmed thought that you have to be something in particular or to defend a particular point of view. I've seen that massively in different ways. I have seen people buying things as real and true that aren't necessarily so. I've had the experience firsthand several times of being interviewed for something and having words taken out of context, having information twisted to fit a certain paradigm rather than believing what everybody else says. Tap into, what do you know to be true? Truth will always make you feel lighter, and a lie will always make you feel more compressed, heavier, and definitely isn't nearly as much fun. Anyway, if this has appealed to you, I would love to hear back. Let me know how you be. And it's been a very long time since I went live, and yeah, it's kind of fun. How's it get even better? Thank you. And thank you so much, Michelle, for writing the notes. I really appreciate it. And thank you, and take care. And I'm going to go be with my daughter now. How's it get even better? Bye.